You're listening to the Board Game Snobs podcast, a ridiculous podcast with ridiculous hosts that discuss ridiculous things. And any mention of board games is purely coincidental. And so, without further ado, and with a heavy dollop of shame and embarrassment on my part, I give you the Board Game Snobs.
And go.
Wow. It only took you 30 minutes to get the sound set up. This is Jerry from the Board Game Snobs podcast, which is the podcast you're currently listening to. The host is present.
Hello, this is Gabby. Nice to meet you.
Yes, and this is going to be our organized, structured version.
Yes, sir.
Board Game Snobs 2.0.
Back to basics, as one might say.
Well, I hate that phrase.
I know, but it really is something because, a lot of TV shows could learn from that. It's like they start off good, then they have to up the ante each and every season, add more characters, add more plots, add more everything. And you're like, I wish they'd have just got back to basics because I liked it when they're first. The pilot episode's never good, but usually around the end of season 1, the beginning of season 2, they're hitting their stride. But when they get into 4, 5, 6, and 7, it's too much.
That's what she said off of The Office. Basically, those level of jokes. Pam, yeah. That's what they said. Keep it simple, stupid. And that was really...
Kiss.
There you go. Every gift begins with...
A kiss.
No, that's with K. That's a commercial.
Oh, jewelry.
K.
Diamonds.
There's Jared's.
Jared. I bought my wife's wedding ring at Jared's.
Yeah.
Jared, is that local or is that nationwide?
Like it's nationwide.
State Farm.
State Farm's not nationwide.
No, nationwide is on your side. That's a whole different one.
State Farm would not make sense in a urban area.
I know. I wonder if State Farm sells in urban areas even.
I doubt it.
What do they sell there?
State City.
Progressive.
State Concrete. Oh, yeah, they probably do have a subsidiary.
Well, no, what's that thing they call it when you bring in all this new stuff and run all the old people out of town?
Hostile takeover.
Almost.
Gentrification.
Want to feel safe in your situation? Buy gentrification. That's going to be insurance. But people don't like that. They say it's a bad thing, right? Because it raises prices and the
I have no idea. You need to stop what you're doing. I don't know what you're intending to do. Anytime you go off your rocker like this is supposed to be organized.
That's correct.
And the professional version. You told me before you had a format.
This is we're going to stick to it heavily.
You have notes.
Hold on, let me adjust my microphone ever so slightly.
Please
ignore those
meta.
noises.
No meta here.
We are never meta.
Even though that.
So Enrique's gone. He's gone back to the motherland.
Mexico.
Or fatherland.
He's in Cancun.
Is it motherland or fatherland? Does it depend on the parent of which home it is?
I think that it depends because like Germany was always the fatherland. And then some countries, it's the motherland. I don't know what makes it paternal or fraternal. I don't know.
Well, either case, Enrique's gone back there.
He's gone back to the land for which...
So he's not here, unfortunately.
Hope he's having a good time in Cancun or Cancun? Cozumel. I don't know where he went.
But he's here in spirit.
Yes.
As always.
Continue.
Oh,
Continue.
Oh, there we go. Continue. So with Enrique, sometimes we do tend to get chaotic.
It's Enrique's fault.
You add the third person.
It really is his fault.
When it's just me and you, we get along.
He incites me.
Yes.
To do vile things.
When he's gone, we get along swimmingly.
We've never argued when he's not
Not once.
Yeah, I've noticed that. What we're saying is he's the root of all evil on this podcast.
And he's no longer on the show.
No, not this episode.
Except for the one little soundbite I did.
Because he's out of the state.
With the motherland.
Yes. But when he comes back, he'll probably, because I'm taking him to BGG with me. November 14th.
Let's see. This will be out. No, this should be out by then.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it will be.
November.
We're
September.
Maybe a couple weeks from it at this point. Anyway, so, usually we start off with some, back and forth. Then it may be a did you know or some news and interesting facts that David Allen specifically enjoys.
Yes.
Interesting facts.
I love David
Otherwise,
Allen.
I don't bring about Uninteresting. What would be the point of, hey, I've got an uninteresting fact for you?
You have a lot of uninteresting facts. What is your definition of interesting? Oh, I can't do definitions because that upsets several people.
Why would you do a definition
of
what's interesting?
I just want to know what's your definition of interesting.
But I mean, that would be subjective. What's interesting to you is not to me.
I feel that I'm objective in what I find interesting.
Of course you do. Ahead. Of course you do. So we'll get to some nitty gritty review of a game we played. But first, did you know?
Because this is a board game podcast.
This is a board game podcast.
I know. I don't know.
This factoid brought to you by David Allen LLC. You ever heard of hanging 10?
I have not.
You've never heard anybody say, hang 10, bro?
Oh, you said hanging 10.
But they call it in the act hanging. You're presently hanging.
No, you hang 10.
No, you can be also hanging 10.
I've heard hang 10.
Hung 10?
No, hang 10. Keep going.
You could presently be hanging, though. So, I was wondering where this came from. It's a style of surfing called nose riding. This is where the back of the crumbling wave is forcing down water on the back of the surfboard, which allows very skillful surfers, not vers, surfers.
Do they have boots?
I'm a sir.
Boots with the furs.
You got Sir Mix-a-Lot and Sir Fur.
Boots with the fur.
I got okay. you.
I have repeated.
Flow rider. I'm with you.
Oh, you didn't laugh.
I'm sorry. You do lots of surfing in Florida, perhaps.
I do.
I don't know that you do. That's not the best place. The Pacific is where you really go to surf. I think people try to surf.
The Pacific.
Specifically, the Pacific. Anyway, so the wave is keeping the back of the board down, allowing you to ride the nose, which is only if you're skillful. And usually I think this is done on like the longer boards. It was more of a thing back in the day, like when, you ever heard of Gidget?
Sounds like a dog.
No, it was an old type of movie. Gidget.
No, I can't say I have.
Really? Or like 50s, probably 50s, 60s movies. It was a young girl moved to a new town in California, and she starts hanging out with the surfing crowd, and she learns how to surf.
It's kind of like Pippi Longstockings.
Nothing like it at all.
Okay, keep going.
I think one of the guys that was in it was either Frankie Valli or Paul Anka. I get those two characters, those two singers confused, but one of those starred in many a Gidget movie with Gidget. And Gidget herself, the titular character Gidget, was played by many different actresses. I say many different.
This sounds right.
Anyway, I digress. Hanging 10 is derived from the fact that you could go to the nose of the board as waves are crashing down upon the rear of the board, allowing you to be buoyed up on the front of the board. And you curl all 10 toes over the front of the board, thereby hanging your 10 toes off the front of the board. Hanging 10.
Huh. That's a very specific term
on the Pacific
to come up with.
Hang 10.
Like, why would you choose that? Like, why would you, I guess, how close, and to use that term, it's very interesting.
Well, it captured the attention of pretty much the entire surfing world and every surfer on the planet when a guy called David. Okay, now if I was to stereotype,
go for it.
Which I shouldn't.
You should.
But his name looks Hawaiian.
Ah, he's Samoan. Those are my favorite Girl Scout cookies.
Nuahiwa.
Mm-hmm.
It's Nuhiwa. Lots of vowels in there.
That's a good, I like vowels.
David Nuahiwa refined the style and simply owned the maneuver with such style that it became an art form. Groundbreaking stuff at the time. Anyway, that's where the phrase hanging 10 comes from. When a surfer has all of his 10 toes on the very edge of the surfboard.
I needed to know this. I found this interesting.
I feel like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have said it at least once or twice.
I've not watched them.
As they're into all surf terms.
I've not really watched them. But they're
totally tubular.
But they don't surf. I've never seen them surf.
I think they've surfed down the sewer lines.
But they don't surf traditionally.
They live in New York City, so.
Hence. So I don't know why. Why is it that these turtles use a weird nomenclature that's from a completely different coast? I want to know that. That's never addressed, ever.
It's not all of them. It's just Michelangelo.
Well, why him, though? Why did he have a different accent and
Maybe.
Where is this vernacular coming from?
Maybe, like we said in a previous podcast, he got a concussion. He used to speak New York. He used to, hey, a pizza, huh? Bada boom, bada bing, huh? But then he got conked on the head and woke up with whatever it was that the guy from Wham got. And he just spoke up speaking a different language.
It's a different accent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like, hey, totally tubular, Michelangelo. Well, that's his name. He wouldn't say his own name.
It's like the Valley Girls. Oh my God.
Yeah, you've been doing that a lot lately. I don't like it.
What?
You've been doing that vocal fry.
What is it?
It's like you're like so tired or too lazy to expel your words.
Why don't you like it?
And then it just goes down in the hair.
It just has that.
Yeah, no, it's not good. It's not pleasant to the ears.
Is it?
It is not.
It's not. Okay, I'll stop.
There's not any lifelong radio man that had vocal fry. Hey guys, welcome
You're
to.
right.
Yeah, they have distinct, powerful voices.
I was his bae when he wrote Uncut Jams. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. I give it up. I'm done with it. These fries are gone.
Thank you.
You'll be looking for them later.
No, I will not.
And you'll be like, Fry.
Daddy.
Fry.
Day.
Bueller.
Yay.
Bueller.
No.
You don't know that reference. It's from Ferris
I know
Bueller.
Ferris Bueller. I know the guy used to be like vice president or secretary of the state or something that did that.
I hated that show.
The movie or his show?
No, not Ben Stein.
Ben Stein Win the Money.
Yeah, I like that show.
Win Ben Stein's money.
It had Jimmy on there. What's his name?
Kimmel?
Yeah. Jimmy Kimmel was the other dude.
Okay.
People forget that when it was on Comedy
That's a long time
Central.
ago.
Long time ago. But I don't like Ferris Bueller's Day Off because I think nobody focuses on the fact that Ferris is a terrible person.
He's not a good guy.
He's not a good guy. And really, the only change that was beneficial was from his friend, Fry.
He had some development.
He did. There was an arc there.
But, the best part of that, there's two good scenes in that movie.
All right, the dancing.
The dancing on the float.
Shake it up, baby.
I mean, that's just classic.
It is, yeah.
Particularly because I like that song.
I like that song, too.
And the Charlie Sheen scene.
Mm-hmm. Anytime Charlie Sheen shows up, that's winning.
It's good stuff.
It's winning. Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yes. Sean.
Here's another issue I have. Briefly going to movies. We'll make this the movie segment.
We got to stay on topic.
Just briefly.
Because then we got to go on and talk about
because we got a board game to talk about here in a second. I watched The Flash, the big movie that came out with Ezra Miller.
It wasn't a big
hashtag
movie.
canceled.
It
was big budget-wise.
Yeah, budget-wise.
But it flopped tremendously.
Yes.
Here's something, as I watched it, okay, I expected it to be horrendously terrible, and it probably was, but my expectations were so low, it did not meet them. I enjoyed it. But here's my issue with the movie. Alternate timelines, time travel. Here's my issue. The entire movie is spent with him in an alternate timeline of the past, meeting characters, getting to know them, having back and forth
relations with them.
Relationships.
That's what I said. Relations. Keep going as you drink from your Avengers decanter.
Hey, Soul Train.
Soul Train.
And Naomi. Christian and his wife sent that to me when I was feeling bad one day. And
he lost his job, according to Facebook.
That's enough. I saw that.
R.I.P.
Do you think he wanted you to shout that out to the world?
You know what? I shouldn't.
You probably
I shouldn't dox. But he posted it on our Facebook group, which is up to like 500 members.
That's true.
So he told 500 people.
Look at us go.
And so I feel sorry for him because job loss is a continue. I'll come back to Christian.
So the Flash created this timeline that once he went back in time, he met all these characters, specifically, spoiler alert if you don't want to hear about the Flash.
Okay.
For at least the next 30 to 60 seconds.
I want to hear.
He meets Batman and Supergirl.
Who's Supergirl?
Kara.
I don't know who this person is. I don't watch this.
It's Kal-El's cousin, Supergirl.
So it's not Wonder Woman.
No, it's Supergirl. She is from Krypton.
Who I adore.
But she was sent earlier or later or whatever.
So she came later after so the world was blowing up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And they sent somebody else?
I think I'm not good with comic book timelines. I don't remember if she was sent before Superman or after.
Is this a cash in where it's like there's one Superman and now we have to have Superwoman? Or,
no, it's
not
just
the girl.
Supergirl.
It's Supergirl.
Supergirl
because you had Wonder
specifically.
Woman. I don't like that. Wait a minute. Is she super?
Yeah, she's everything
basically-
Superman is.
But a woman.
But yes, there you go.
I'm intrigued. Continue.
So anyway,
tell me more.
they say this reality you've now created by going back in time and saving your mother.
Correct. Flash
It's
saved
not
his
going
mother.
like Batman's like it's not going to end good.
You
Like
can't do
you've
that.
just destroyed the whole world. So you need to go back in time.
Kill your mother.
No, yes.
Word to
Yes.
your mother.
Yes. You need to go back in time and never create what's happening right now.
Because your mother's
So
that
the-
important.
Apparently, his mother means the difference between life and death in the universe.
That's insane.
So he goes back in it. So in the end of the movie, of course, it's Flashpoint. He goes back and sets it all right. Quotation marks, because there are a few differences.
Yes.
Different diverging timelines. But he goes back and shuts off what he did previously. So the entire movie that was spent with Bruce Wayne, Supergirl, and Batman
Didn't happen.
never happened.
Never happened. So that's the movie.
So like, you have a movie?
It's like a dream
Oh, this
sequence.
isn't going good. Better go back and fix it. Never happened. That angers me.
It's a dream
It was a
sequence.
completely exactly. It's like waking up season 7 of a show. They're like, oh, he didn't really die. He was.
So can I ask you something? And this is serious. I'm not attacking
Okay,
you.
I know you
Normally
are.
I would attack you.
You are attacking.
No,
me.
Enrique's not here because he would be whispering in my ear right now. Attack him.
Okay.
But I'm not a Marvel fan. I don't really watch Marvel movies. I've tried a few, so this is coming from a place of ignorance. But I have heard you say in the past on a previous podcast how you like the end game, and from what I understand about the end game, it was basically a bunch of characters died, and the few that didn't die went back into the past or a different universe and changed said all that, and so the previous 2-hour movie was null and void. Why is that? Is there a difference? Is what I'm wanting to know. Why does that? Is there a difference?
But in Marvel, it's not that he changed it to where they never died.
Mm-hmm.
They actually did.
Okay.
Like the 5 years progressed on Earth, and then they came back and people had to readjust because they had moved on with their lives. But all these people came back.
So
There was a
so literally in this universe they died, but they brought them from the other universe over. Is that what happened?
they died, but then he went back to the beginning to where they never that timeline simply never happened.
And then they just showed back up.
No, he changed it back to the way it was with a few small differences.
But I'm talking about the end game. Did they?
No, in game, they died. Then they go back in time to get some rings or something.
Yeah.
I'm done with gems,
They had
whatever.
the gems.
But
Uncut
then they
gems.
uncut gems.
Wouldn't that be it? That's what you get, and you need one more of those power rings. And like I have the uncut gem, but she's the one that can snap you back.
You're
into
referencing a very old TikTok at this point in internet years.
It's a TikTok that stays rent free in my mind. Go ahead.
But yeah, so the time did progress.
Okay.
They were dead for 5 years.
And then they come back
and then they all just show back up.
because they come from a different
It's kind of like that
universe.
movie, that TV show Manifest, where this plane disappears for
And
like
then
8 years.
And it comes back.
And then it comes back. Everybody's like, where have y'all been?
Do you know what a bummer that would be
For who?
for everybody? Because look,
For everyone involved.
And I will-
Unless you were like on the other side of the world, had no vested interest. You'd be like, oh, weird. A plane came back.
well, no, I'm just
Unless
saying,
it was a relative of yours.
I'm saying like you remember Castaway, which that show really bothers me with Tom Hanks.
I don't like it because it's too much of a man being alone, and those type of movies, they're boring to me.
First off, I love Man Being Alone. I liked Robert
I know
Redford
you
on the
do.
boat.
On the boat. Never seen it.
I love it. Anyways, but Tom Hanks being on this island, he's on the island for like 5 years. And then he goes back, and Helen Hunt has like a 4-year-old child.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody brings up that like she waited like 3 months to start dating again. Like
All of. 3 months.
And then she's like, I'm married and I'm fine. That really devastated me.
Well,
because I expect it to be like, oh, you're back. That, no.
No, they don't believe in happy endings in these big Hollywood movies
No, they
anymore.
don't, which is great, because I don't think that would be obvious, because I wouldn't expect somebody to wait 5 years on me. But she didn't even wait weeks. She was gone. She was done with him.
I mean, 3 months at sea, you think they're dead.
You assume.
You assume. And you know what that means?
But still, it's one of those things, though, that it just really upset me. She wasn't broken. Helen Hunt was not broken down by this.
No.
She just moved on.
She went through all, however many stages of grief.
5.
In 3 months.
Like 5.
Dabda. Denial, anger, bargaining, acceptance. No, acceptance is the last one.
Acceptance is the last.
Depression.
Something.
Acceptance.
Denial. Yeah.
She went through all, DABDA. She went through all 5 in 3 months.
She's done.
Not even a month apiece.
She was just not even, yeah.
Like 3 days of depression.
This week I deny it. But I'm just
Today
saying,
I'm angry.
But imagine you're in the Marvel universe and all these people have died. They did turn to dust.
I imagine all the people.
And then they just show back up. Was it not just the Marvel people that showed back up? It was literally everybody who got
half the universe
snapped away.
Correct.
Half the universe. And they just show back
up.
And
Iron Man saved them.
And you're like, what's going on here? And you're like, Anyway, why is that bad? Why is that fine? But this other thing with the Flash is bad.
Because of what you just said. In regards to, if this had happened with Tom Hanks, she has a 4-year-old. How old was he? 3 months.
Anyways, my point is like, why is that bad though?
Because a progression of time shows that they were indeed missing. Life continued without me while I was gone. In the case of Batman and Supergirl,
I get it.
It never happened.
Okay, I get it. So it's the never happening thing.
Yes.
I got you. So if it would have been like, my mom was dead for a little bit, and then she was alive for a little bit, then I went back and undeaded her, deadened her again. Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay,
I'm good.
So that's it. That's our movie segment.
This is what happens when Enrique's not here.
Okay, this is the Guess the Punchline segment, which I'm going to read a setup to Jerry, see if he can somewhat come around to what the punchline is.
I didn't know we were doing this. This is live.
And I want you to think, okay?
Not planned. I am thinking all the time. I have ADHD.
Well, there's an extra H in there for something. Hemorrhoids.
Hemorrhoids TV. I have high def.
Okay, hold on.
Give me the punchline.
Let's see if I can do this. Oh, that's way too loud.
That's very loud. Is that weakest link? Or
maybe it is.
No, that's not weakest link. That's
I don't know. It was free. It was royalty free. So wherever I purchased it.
You purchased it? If it's royalty free, why'd you purchase it?
Because now it's royalty free.
I don't think you understand.
Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go.
That's
guess the punchline.
Got it. Who wants to be a millionaire?
A woman in labor suddenly shouted, "Shouldn't, wouldn't, couldn't, don't, can't." "Don't worry," said the doc. Finish the punchline.
Those are all negatives. Those are all
shouldn't,
wouldn't, couldn't, wouldn't. I don't know.
What do you call it when you take should not and make it shouldn't?
Oh, compound words.
Oh my God!
I don't know English. I don't know phonics.
You have made this a terrible game.
No, give me another chance. What was that? Tell me the punchline.
Don't worry, said the doc. Everyone in the audience is just really irritated right now.
There's no ability here.
Those are just contractions.
Oh, I don't know words like that. I don't know what a noun is, or a proper noun, or an adjective. I don't know those terms. And it sounds like she was in her third. Get it?
I get you. I got that. A bear walks into a bar and says, "Give me a whiskey and..." I'm
supposed to fill in the blank.
"A cola."
A whiskey and a cola? Nobody says cola.
"Why the big pause?" asked the bartender. The bear shrugged. Finish that punchline. You should not have got more of Ginger Juice.
I don't know, Andy. No, the Ginger Juice is helping. These jokes are so blank. Fill in the punchline.
I'm not sure I was born with them.
Okay, yeah. The big pause. Yeah, I mean,
he said, "Give me a whiskey and..."
Oh, why the big pause? I got you. I like, just fun fact, those ones where they walk into a bar, those like my favorite jokes. It's like the dyslexic guy walking into a bra. See?
Good.
I like that one.
You know the most classic one of all time for me?
What's that?
A horse walks into a bar.
Long face. My favorite is a grasshopper that walks into the bar. The bartender says, "We have a drink named after you." And the grasshopper goes, "You got a drink named Steve?" That's my favorite. Okay. All right, continue your next one. Do we have another? Play the music.
Okay. Well, I mean, it really didn't add much, but okay.
It added a lot to me.
Here we go. Pause.
Third time's a charm.
Big pause. Helvetica and Times New Roman walk into a bar. "Get out of here," shouts the bartender. Finish that punchline.
From the bartender? "We don't serve your type here."
Yes! Oh, that's so good.
That is a good one. I like that one. That was a good one.
Let's see. Oh.
Maybe that bar was just a front.
A font?
That's what I meant to say. I had a little bit. I was trying to say front and font.
Oh, there it is. I should have had this on there when you got the correct answer. Hold.
Do it. Did you pay royalties for that one too?
Maybe.
That's off Mario Kart.
Okay, here we go. Let me put that down here by the music where I can do that.
Okay. Is there another one?
Another one. Oh, wait. No, there's not.
Oh, thank goodness.
I didn't want to run it into the ground. We need to keep that segment for the future.
Keep it fresh, like DJ Khaled.
Okay. I mean, I hate to have, just, as David Allen might say, just, banter that is falsely created. Like he's like, it'll happen naturally.
Well, what you're bringing up is something, and let me tell you something. I like.
Are you going to go to the emails?
Well, you can go to the emails. I'm going to the Facebook.
Go to the emails. So we had many emails based upon our last podcast. Oh no, wait, it's not our last podcast. It was a recent. See, time on this podcast makes a big thing. So about 3 weeks ago,
getting on with the flash.
About 3 weeks ago, I posted. And I asked a question about basically how does everyone feel about the podcast these days?
You said that we changed. This is, in fact, that we simply don't have the opportunity to play many games together as we once did. Life has interfered with our gaming. And so you were saying that we are truly now barely a board game podcast.
Because we used to focus at least probably half the podcast on board game. But we play, usually, here's the thing. We usually played 1 or 2 or 3 games, and we would do a lot more discussion about board games.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I think we're board game adjacent. We've always been board game adjacent, but people like us because they're hearing the aftermath of gaming. Does that make sense? That does make perfect sense. It's us and the environment created from the games.
But we don't hardly discuss the games anymore. Just very briefly.
Well, okay.
Which we're going to discuss one here shortly.
What's that deal with a guy brings in the actors? Can't remember the name of the show, and then he's like the real serious guy. He talks to the actors about stuff.
I know what you're talking about.
And he's always, how do you feel about this? And he'd ask them questions, and they all talk about how did you
like
manage
inside
this?
the actor studio or something?
The guild, Actors Guild. Yes. How do you feel about shooting films and having to reflect the passion that you're, he has asked all these deep meaning questions. Well, that show is not about the movies, right? It's really about
that is exactly it. Inside the actor studio. I nailed it.
Yeah. It's really, well, congratulations.
James Lipton.
T. It's really about the everything surrounding
the process.
I like to think that we're the aftermath of board gaming. Like what people tune into here is not so much a board game review or discussion or anything, but really it's the process that we go through, what is created from board gaming. Because here's what I'd like to bring up, because David Allen's quickly becoming my favorite person ever.
Like literally every time I read one of his posts, I think it's you under a pseudonym.
It may very well be. I am David. So here we go.
I mean, he is just like you.
What?
Did the Flash go back in time and create another you?
He says, I played board games
on the West Coast.
I played board games with a couple of different groups.
That's it. His name is West Coast Jerry from now on.
One of the things that I find lacking is that even after playing with some of these folks for years, I still don't know much about them because they're so focused. I love that you guys are honest and candid with each other and with us about things other than games. I think if I were to, and this is where he says that basically stop with the stupid trivia and banter, but that's deeply ingrained into your personality. Anyways,
I love trivia, by the way.
I know, but trivia is kind of
trivial.
There you go. But like the trivia that you propose,
I really cracked myself up.
I know. I was like, you're the only one laughing there.
But it's right there.
But you know where trivia comes from, the word, which is I'm about to get off into my thing. Mason Pierce is going to die if I go into my definitions. But trivia comes from the three-way roads. That's where people used to hang out at in Rome.
Trivia.
Yes.
I got you.
There you go. They just talk about stupid things. So I'm just saying that David Allen has that figured out. That, we talk about what the aftermath of board gaming, I guess you could say, and what is produced, whereas most people just play the games.
Just the joy and the camaraderie that occurs.
And apparently he doesn't have much camaraderie.
With trivia.
No, with board gaming.
Oh, well, I mean.
That's what he just said.
Yeah.
If you were paying attention.
I was, and I was too busy thinking of the Five Fingers,
which is
the gangs of London. New York?
It's of New York.
The gangs of...
You're thinking of the werewolf.
West Side Story.
You know, werewolf.
Jets versus Sharks. That's what I'm thinking of.
Nah.
Werewolf of London. Mm-hmm. That's a scary movie.
I'm thinking of the song. Werewolves of London. That's
the song. I'm not familiar with that one.
You're not familiar with the song? It goes,
I'm not familiar with that one.
Werewolves of London.
Never heard it.
It's a great song.
I don't think so.
You should go ahead and buy some royalties and listen to it right now. It's a great song.
Well, if you can think of something to say in the meantime, I will search while you talk.
But there's several other people that had commented regarding Gabi's post on Facebook regarding how our podcast has seemingly changed a little bit. Trevor Franklin sent an email. Let's see. Carl Russell II. I originally listened because of board games. Now I listen because of your personalities and dynamic. Doesn't matter if you talk about games, mac and cheese, or dead dogs. I'll keep tuning in. Okay, thanks very much. Dead dogs. Fortis Sevotakis. I never can say people's names. Right. That's okay. I have noticed, and it's fine with me. See? He's a great...
Short and to the point. I like that. Point.
Let's see. Ian Francis. Where's Francis? I'm listening to the podcast around episode 80, November 2019. And I listen to the new ones as they come out. They're definitely different. I enjoy both. Unless you're both relying on a podcast to feed your family to pay your mortgage, don't change anything.
Definitely not.
Michael Vinoy says the writer strike ended, but some of them don't know how to clean up after themselves. So I grabbed one of the picket signs that they left on the street and wrote on the back, "Less board games, more banter." Richard Simpson still saying his stuff. Kelly Wouters.
I think it's Wouters.
Wow.
You got to put a little, Owen Wilson into it. Wouters.
Wow. If you unplug it and plug it back in after 15 seconds, they reset. Reset your Wouter. That's not working. Reset your Wouter. IT joke. I love hearing you guys talk.
and lisp joke.
No.
But you do have a list, so you're able to make that joke.
Don't have a list.
You most certainly do have a list.
No list.
You've said it several times on this podcast when seeking, what did you say? Sad fishing?
I don't sad fish.
You most certainly do sad fish.
I never sad fish.
You have always sad fished.
I have never Scott Hill, which is the hill I would die on. I have always considered you to be board game adjacent at best, even though he recently said that I'm the negative one, which that is objectively wrong. Okay, that might be true. So don't change a thing. Let's see. Don't feel like it's necessary to plan and talk about the new hotness. Other people do that. That's true. Other people who are much more successful than us. Tristan Whitley. I was introduced to you guys through Sporadically Bored, and he's here for the banter. Let's see. Each of you brings such a different element to the podcast.
Each of you? Is he including Enrique?
I feel like he's talking about Enrique. Oh, he brought up the phone call episode. We need to do the phone call episode again. We need to do another.
We will have the exact same people call in.
Exactly.
That's what we'll have it on that particular scenario.
Let's see.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Hey, Chad Lamb just wants to know if Enrique passed his driver's test. Enrique has not. He's not. They haven't tried yet. He's not.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. What was the name of the song again? Because I'm on YouTube.
Werewolves of London.
That's the name of the song. I can't believe that.
Nathan Maislick. He thoroughly enjoys the podcast. Let's see. P.S. Missed the Disagreeable Nerd podcast. Oh,
me too.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
Okay, you ready?
I'm been ready.
I've heard this song.
Yeah. So I don't know why you don't understand.
I never knew that was the name.
It says it.
I don't know how many times I gotta tell you this. I do not listen to lyrics.
Why? That's the point of the song.
I don't listen to lyrics. I like the beat.
You don't listen to people either. You don't listen to...
Huh?
Chinese menu in his hand.
See? Werewolf Chinese menu in hand.
Walking through the streets of Soho in the rain.
Should he say that?
Soho? Yeah.
He was looking for the place called Lee Ho Fooks.
This is a great song.
We're going to play the whole thing.
No, we can't play the whole thing because there's a 30-second...
Oh, well, that was 38 seconds.
Oh, wait.
We got 8 seconds of royalties to pay.
Oh, how much you think? Who sings that song?
Warren Zevon.
That's exactly. I think he commented on this post
Warren
as well.
Zevon. I think
I'm
he did.
just saying is that, yes, our podcast has changed. You think it's changed. I think it's changed ever so slightly just because of your situation and us not being able to game as much. But that's still,
true.
It doesn't make...
I mean, the heart of it is the same.
It's exactly the same.
I think some of the content is different.
I don't think so.
I do. Corey Brown on our Patreon posted, which we should have read this first.
People that give us money.
I'm glad you all don't only talk about board games. I can get all the board game talk. And that was a theme of most of these comments. And of course, we are asking our own audience what they think about this, which is probably not the way to go. But most people that don't know us hate us. So that's also the way to go.
Bubble.
Right.
And I like being in it. I enjoy this bubble.
He says, I can get all the board game talk I want off YouTube, but what I can't get is the high quality banter I get from you all.
You all.
He failed to use what, Jerry?
Contractures.
Look at you getting things
I wonder
wrong.
if he's dilated.
I don't know. But he can't see if he is. So here's another one.
Was that an optometrist joke? Because that was it took me a second for a second. See, right there. The genius. The genius that comes out of these episodes, people don't get.
Okay, here's another Patreon. So we got to read it.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Maxwell.
I know, Ryan.
Format change. He said, here's the deal.
We got to go bowling.
Look, here he comes out with strong opinions. He's going Ryan, strong opinions, Maxwell.
He does have. He goes to the man.
He said, here's the deal. I started listening 4 or 5 years ago because I was looking for new board game podcasts. And while you've drifted away from the board games, I feel like you guys are just a joy to listen to and fun to interact with. IRL.
What does that mean? In real life?
In real life.
I knew that.
It's not too dissimilar from the sports radio station here in DFW, The Ticket. They are billed as an all-sports station. But for nearly 30 years now, sports have only been about half the programming. The rest is just them talking about stuff that interests them. I like the format, and I will continue listening as long... He's got a caveat here.
I like caveats.
I like caviar a lot.
I like caveats. You don't like caviar. You never ate fish eggs.
I never have.
You don't even like eggs.
I've eaten chicken eggs. That's the same thing. They're both eggs.
Butt nuggets.
I like the
That's what he calls them. He calls them butt nuggets. That kid's nasty. I took him to Denny's. I took him to Denny's when Denny's was open here next to your house. I took him to Denny's. I got a grand slam because I get a discount. And he's like, and I don't get a discount because I'm old. I get a discount because I'm a hero. Okay. They give heroes discounts
You
here.
flash your EMT card.
And he was like, give me some butt nuggets. I was like, what? What?
No, he would call them butt nugs.
Yes. I'm just saying.
Okay. So Ryan said,
eggs.
As long as
You
guys keep it real.
Listen, have we ever been unreal?
Keep up the good work. Sincerely, Ryan Maxwell.
I don't think I've ever been unreal.
You know what? In this kind of saddens me to bring this up to our audience, which kind of failed me on this round.
Do it.
We discussed hemorrhoids. And I went into my hemorrhoid.
Touchy subject.
I thought it was lit. I thought it was fire. No emails.
Mm-mm.
Nobody said, hey, I too suffer from this, illness. There's a word I can't look for because I'm not a thesaurus anymore.
I think some people could stand to hear a podcast about hemorrhoids, don't you?
I hate to pile on, but no emails.
It's an inflammatory issue.
I ain't add fire to the flame to the fire. Fire to the flame. I don't mean to be incendiary in my comments. I don't even know if that applies, but it's something fire related. Okay. But it's like, I put myself out there talking about my issue, needing tissue, soft tissue, moist, soft tissues, specifically wet wipes from Costco. If we don't get an email about this one, I'm done. Because this is solid stuff right here. Solid stuff causes hemorrhoids.
Listen, I got it.
Okay, anyway, so Maxwell, if that ain't keeping it real, what other board gaming podcast out there discusses hemorrhoids in such great length and depth?
Do you want more Avenger juice? I don't want to ply you with...
No. I need to pace myself.
4-ply.
I got you.
Charmin.
Okay, on the subject of what we're discussing and being this is a very meta discussion, one of our favorites.
This is our serious podcast because we got to talk about a game here.
We will shortly talk about games, which is what we do on this board game podcast called Board Game Snobs. We're very snobby about the games we play.
I am so snobbish. There's games I won't play.
Trevor Franklin wrote a lengthy podcast, a lengthy email, very nice, very loving.
Trevor's a nurse.
He says, "Do you even game, bro?" In response to your Facebook post about moving further and further away from being a podcast that discusses board games, straight up, I'm glad y'all are still classified as a board game podcast. It gives us common ground, but I'm at the point now that I feel a slight tinge of disappointment when y'all move on to a board game discussion, because I'm never ready to leave the banter or other topics behind.
Maybe it's because Trevor understands that we wasted we may have to pick this back up on another episode, but we really wasted our potential with board games. I mean, with such high level thinking and reasoning, we could have chosen a different topic.
I have said, sometimes I wish we would have changed our name from Board Game Snobs to just Bantering Snobs. We don't have to put snobs in the title, just something else, and just do us.
But the thing is that you couldn't get an audience that way.
What? How do you think all these guys, they don't talk about anything specifically?
They do. There's like politics or sports or movies.
True.
They all have something specific.
But
and
here's
people
the
look
thing.
for it. Nobody's going to be looking for general bantery. They just don't. Nobody does this.
You know why? You know why?
I know why.
Because there is no classification. Yes. And this frustrates me.
Yes, there's no
There's no classification on Apple or any of these.
We're in a class war.
Yes, they want you to specify, what are you talking about? Are you talking about your lifestyle?
Unpacific.
As some may say.
We're trying to
talking about games? Are you talking about movies?
No.
Wait, are you talking about news? Religion? Politics? What are you talking about?
There's no above.
Classification.
There's no all of the above.
Exactly.
And the reason
you can't put us in a box.
We're on the cutting edge.
There needs to be one that says no box.
Cutting edge. Why are you trying to put me in a box?
Don't put me in a box, Apple.
You can't.
Can't.
And so that's the problem is that we had to pick something.
Can't hold me.
And we picked this.
Never will hold me.
And we did it. And strangely enough,
like my mama did,
board games come in a box. And it was weird. And so thus, it's very ironic that the thing that somewhat took hold.
But here's a loophole. Here's the thing. Board games brought us together, though.
True.
Without board games, me and you wouldn't exist.
This is true.
The only reason you came over to my house is because Bubba said, hey, I know I got to play board games. Thus, we were united and have been united, not at the hip, but in a relationship ever since.
He would have not have said, listen, there's somebody else that I know that does general bantery.
Gentrification.
And
bantery.
And this would contribute to your longevity.
Right. Y'all should do a podcast about everything.
Longevity?
How do you do that?
Longevity.
Hey, you know what you guys should do? Like everything together and then get a podcast going about like everything.
Is there just
how do you do that?
Longevity? There's longevity. Why are people always trying to make their longevity longer? It's what I want to know.
You got to.
Either way, this relationship is one that is built on board gaming. Thus, I think, How long?
That's the backbone that kind of like brings us back into focus, as someone brought out.
It does.
They're like, sometimes you need a little bit of focus. And that is true. Like all the big podcasts, as you mentioned, have a specific focus, but that ain't us. You know what? We're going to have our amount of listeners we've got.
I don't listen to those other podcasts.
And that's just what we're going to be.
Because they're weird. They're super weird. Bunch of nerds talking about board games.
So, Trevor.
Component quality.
Trevor continues.
Oh, keep going, Trevor. Fellow hero.
Thankfully, these days, even when y'all do discuss board games, and he says y'all legitimately because he is from Kentucky.
Don't dox him. You doxed him.
I do. Even when y'all do discuss board games, you get pretty off topic.
No, we didn't.
So again, I do like that y'all are still technically a board game podcast, but I absolutely don't listen to y'all for the in-depth board game discussions, as some people once did. I'm adding these words. Some people used to love the games we loved and talked about, and they looked for us for reviews.
I think that when we review a game, which we do, and we put something out there,
and we will here shortly,
it's solid. It's super solid. People like that we put a game out there and say, this is amazing. It's just some episodes, it's really focaled. Focaled? That's the guy off Creedence Clearwater. He's a singer. Foculty.
Bob Foculty.
Bob Foculty. He's dead now.
R.I.P.
As is the guy who played Dale on...
Earnhardt.
No, everybody knows he's dead.
Number 3.
No, Dale.
Trifecta.
He is the third one on King of the Hill. Could you stop? King of the Hill Dale is dead.
R.I.P.
Rusty. Shackelford. He's dead. R.I.P. Anyways, I think that this episode has peaked.
Hold. I'm not done with this email yet.
Trevor, what's with this email?
It's a long one.
What a long one. Okay.
He said, but I absolutely don't listen to y'all for the in-depth board game discussions. Those are a bonus. And if the banter discussion feels cut short, the board games are even a slight nuisance. I just genuinely enjoy listening to y'all. And I think most your listeners, I think he's from the Carolinas. I think most of your listeners would agree, or they wouldn't still be listening. Nice use of a contraction. Self-promotion engaged.
Those contractions are getting shorter and shorter apart. Noticed.
Granted, after he says self-promotion engage, granted, I say this as someone who started Cardboard Cave as a board game podcast. So Trevor's podcast name is Cardboard Cave. He said, as someone who started Cardboard Cave as a board game podcast, which then became a YouTube channel, but I currently get to play so few games. That my last 3 YouTube videos were, in order, a review of a massive 3.5-foot Star Trek Enterprise toy, which I watched, Trevor. That's a wonderful toy. I don't know what it is, but it is wonderful. Although at some point when he took off the bridge part where you could see the little toys inside, he did refer to them as Star Wars characters.
It's Mega Blocks. Oh,
Mega
sorry.
Blocks?
Mega Blocks. Are you not familiar with Mega Blocks?
I understood what they look like. I remember them as a child. I'd never had any.
I love Mega Blocks. I buy Mega Blocks.
So he has a 3.5-foot Star Trek Enterprise toy that is absolutely wonderful. He said also unboxing a pack of gorgeous Lord of the Rings playing cards and trying the new nacho cheeseburger from Wendy's. So compared to me, y'all are nailing the board game thing. Much love, Trevor Franklin. P.S. Don't ignore my email. Read it on the air and be sure to remind people about the Cardboard Cave YouTube channel. It needs help. Also, I threw away my ugly black ortho shoes and started wearing custom shoe inserts. This has greatly improved my plantar fasciitis and my sex appeal. I'm basically the fat and old Enrique now.
He's got plantar fasciitis. Plantar fasciitis is something that affects a lot of people.
It does.
There's more to it than that.
And we have many more emails to read about this subject, but Jerry has said we're done. Is that what you said?
I'm kind of done. I think we need to be done.
But there's so many more that
we can pick up next episode. We don't, and we'll talk
Larissa
about.
Copeland emailed us about convention. You gonna go?
I'll read that here in a minute.
Anthony Salvaggio, Hassan Dervish, Sam Rouleau.
We'll read them later.
To look forward to.
We'll look for R.I.P. No, not R.I.P. Later.
But we're going to discuss a board game, right?
Well, let's do that.
We're going to do it. Next episode. Okay, next episode. A board game podcast.
On the podcast about board games.
Going to happen.
Maybe Enrique will be back by then.
I doubt it.
He will.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. Until then.
I'm Jerry.
This is Gabi.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tolerating this episode of the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.
Bye.